Good evening everyone and welcome to the first ever Hustings event. My name is Tilly Rees and I'm the chairperson of the Cynhelir Youth Council. I'd like to give a very warm welcome to Mary Wyn Goberman from the Senedd Commission Office, the Welsh Youth Parliament candidates, the former Welsh Youth Parliament members, the CYC members and the people that are going to be watching our event live on YouTube. As a youth organisation, our main aim is to promote all young people's voice, and tonight's event is an example of young people's voice in action. We are privileged to hold the first ever Welsh Youth Parliament Hustings event and hope to make it a tradition for our organisation. I wish all the candidates the very best of luck for tonight, and I'm sure you'll smash it. Now over to Mary from the Senedd Welsh Youth Parliament.
Well, diolch Tilly. Thank you so much for inviting me, and apologies if you can't see me. I'm in the dark. I can't control the light settings for some reason, but I am here from my home in Cardiff. So lovely to be with you tonight, and especially the candidates who are standing. Mae 'di bod yn fraint mawr I fi gallu cefnogi y 60 aelod cyntaf nôl yn 2018. It's been a great privilege for me as a Commission staff member to be able to support the 60 members of the first ever Welsh Youth Parliament back in 2018, and it was wonderful working with Kai and Lois and all the other 60 members. It was an exciting experience, and I'm really looking forward to supporting the next 60. I'm delighted to say that 274 candidates are standing for elections in the 60 constituencies this year, which is a great turnout. Felly, diolch yn fawr iawn. Thank you so much for everyone who are standing in the Carmarthen West, Carmarthen East and Cynhelir constituencies who are joining us tonight, I believe, which is a fantastic effort. So in terms of the election, and apologies if I'm going over a lot of information that you already gleaned so far from talking to your friends or going on our website, but just to explain that we have an online election for the 40 constituency seats, and I'll be focusing on explaining that to you in my brief introduction now. And we have another 20 young people who will be elected through our 18 youth organisations. We've teamed up with 18 partner organisations. You can find more about them if you can all see the website youthparliament.senedd.wales, and obviously this is available in the Welsh language as well. But you can see all about our partners if you go to the About page and the drop down. And here we have all our partner organisations ranging from Gyngor Ieuenctid Symru, Learning Disability Wales, Race Council Cymru, tair. Felly yn ystod yr wythnos nesaf nawr, fe fydd y sefydliadau hyn yn dychwelyd un aelod neu 2 aelod yr un I ni fydd yn cyfateb I 20 aelod drwy'r sefydliadau partner. Iawn. Okay. Felly, ond sut mae'r etholiad yn gweithio? Wel, o ran y cam cyntaf I chi'r ymgeiswyr, mae'n mor bwysig, a dwi'n siŵr bod chi wedi bod yn brysur yn gwneud hyn yn eich ymgyrchoedd yn yr ysgolion yn barod, bod chi'n annog eich ffrindiau I gofrestru ac yna I bleidleisio. Felly, na I just treulio chydig o funudau yn esbonio hyn. Ond fel y cam cyntaf mae'n siŵr ydy, fe allwch chi fynd i'r darn election fan hyn. You can start by finding out more about the candidates. So this would be my top tip of starting out. So if we go to this page, and you can find out all about all the candidates here. So if I focus in on your region, Mid and West Wales, and this is something that you could do on your phone with your friends quite easily over lunchtime if you're running an election day in your school. Okay, so you can choose the constituency of your choice. If I choose one, for instance, and then if I scroll down, I'll get information about, oh, we've got 11 days to go. And then when you're ready to vote, and you can enter your unique voter code in there, which I'll explain in shortly. But if I concentrate first on the candidates, so all you'll need to do is encourage your friends to click on, say if I choose Catherine here, the first person, and if I click on her profile, up will pop information about what she's passionate about. Felly, yna materion o bwys ar y cychwyn yn fan hyn ac yna datganiad ymgeisydd. And if I scroll down, I can find the English text, and it tells me all about the candidates, her passions, why she's standing, and why you should vote for her. So I would encourage everyone to read the profiles of all the candidates that are standing, and then your friends can vote. If I go back one step, because it's important for those who are voting to remember to register to vote. This is the only way to get your unique voting code. This will ensure that you can only vote once. Felly mae'n bwysig bod pawb yn cofrestru. Okay? Felly allwch chi fynd I gofrestru I bleidleisio yma. Now, registration is actually closing this Friday at 5 p.m. It's 5 o'clock. So after that, if they haven't registered, they can't unfortunately vote. So this is really, really a crucial bit. Again, I'm sure you're very familiar with this information already, but I just wanted to reiterate that some people do get confused with this part. So please encourage them to register, and they need to submit a form. Okay, and it's important that they go right to the bottom, save and submit. One important thing as well is to state that they must put the correct postcode in. So I would suggest they put the postcode of the school or where the candidates they want to vote for are standing. They can also put their home, but to make sure that they're in the right constituency, that is crucial. They have to be 17 years of age and cannot be older, but if they turn 18 on the date following registration, you know, they can still vote, but they have to be 17 years of age. Once that form is submitted, now we've been encouraging people to register for the last few months. So if they registered before the 1st of November, they would have already received an email from the company we are using to manage the election, and they're called My Voice. Okay. Now, when you get the email, it's important to tell your friends you get a link to the constituency you've notified you're going to vote in. So that's really important. So it takes you straight to the election hub. You use your code, enter the code, and choose the person you want. If your friends have only just registered, because the election started on the 1st of November, they will get their codes on next week. So we will be distributing the codes and they can vote on the 15th of November. So they mustn't panic. Okay, they can vote next week. Okay, so the important step is the registration. Okay, y cam cyntaf pwysig yw'r cofrestru, ac os ydyn nhw wedi wneud hynny cyn y cyntaf o Dachwedd, maen nhw'n gallu pleidleisio nawr, ond os ydyn nhw'n cofrestru yn mis Tachwedd, maen nhw'n cael y codes ar y 15fed, a mae gennych chi tan hanner nos ar yr ail ar 20 o Dachwedd i pleidleisio. Felly, it's important to stress that the election finishes at midnight on the 22nd of November. But all the information is on our website. This is really important, okay? Now, if you've got questions, you can pop them in the chat. I'll stay online for a bit, but unfortunately, I have to take my daughter to a maths class, so I am so sorry I can't stay on the line, but I'll stay for a few minutes. If you've got some questions, if you think of any after tonight's session and you're still not clear, because I know it's a lot to take in, you can email us at hello@youthparliament.wales. All our contact details should be at the bottom of the screen. There you go. All the contact details are there. Okay, so we're here to help. I know it's a lot to take in, but I hope that's been helpful. So yes, I just want to finish by saying good luck with your campaigns. Pob lwc I chi. Diolch yn fawr iawn I chi am ymuno. A hyd yn oed i'r sawl sydd ddim yn ennill y tro hyn. Cofiwch fe fydd yna etholiad arall mewn flynyddoedd, allan newch chi ail sefyll, ond fe fydd eich materion, eich 3 key issue yn cael ei ystyried fel rhai o'r pynciau y bydd yr Senedd yn ei drafod yn ei cyfarfod cyntaf. So just to say that even if you don't win the election this time, just to say your 3 key issues will be considered by the Welsh Youth Parliament in their first meeting. So all your issues will have contributed. So that's great. But good luck with tonight's events. Diolch Tilly, Kai a Lois am drefnu. Diolch yn fawr iawn I chi. I'll stop sharing my screen.
Diolch yn fawr iawn, Mari. Thank you so much for that really good introduction and to the Welsh Youth Parliament. So I'm just going to do a bit of housekeeping. So the event will consist of, 3 sessions tonight, because we do have Eluned Morgan and Kevin Campbell present. So we'll have an opportunity at the end to ask questions to our elected members of the Senedd. And so the other 2 sessions will be a session conducted by me for Cynhelir constituencies and Carmarthen West and South Pembrokeshire. And then Lois will take over to do Carmarthen East and Dynefwr. Felly, yn I dechrau arni den, so we'll start on it. So my name is Kai, and I'm the former member for Carmarthen West and South Pembrokeshire. And being a member and even standing for a member was an amazing experience. It was 2 years I'll never forget. I've made so many friends and it's opened so many doors. I'm now studying international politics and media in Aberystwyth, and I don't think I would have chosen, maybe not even chosen that subject if I wasn't involved in the Welsh Youth Parliament. So just to introduce everyone that are standing in Carmarthen West and South Pembrokeshire to start, and if you're on the Zoom call, can you wave at the camera? We have Emily James, Megan Rose Packard, Phoenix and Jenny Collins, and Zach Davis. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. So tell us a bit more about yourself and where you're from. So start with Zach then.
Hi, I'm from Whitland, so on the edge between Carmarthenshire and Pembrokeshire. I have an keen interest in fixing problems, and anything creative is of interest to me.
Phoenix, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi. So, as you already know from the introduction, I'm Phoenix. I'm 16. I live in Narberth in Pembrokeshire, but I go to school in Carmarthenshire, and I'm very passionate about youth work as I've been doing it for a long time now, sitting on various forums and boards for like 5 years. And yeah, I love acting and performing in art, and I'm also a lifeguard in a local pool. So yeah, that's basically it.
Before I forget, we got Cynhelir candidates also. So there's 3 candidates standing, Flynn MacDonald, Freddie Webber and Lily Evans. And if you want to wave, Lily, you're here. Thank you for coming tonight. And if you want to know any other candidate statements, they're all on the Welsh Youth Parliament website, like Mari said. So Lily, tell us more about yourself and where you're from.
Well, it's probably pretty obvious by now, but I'm Lily. I'm from Cynhelir, like Kai said. I really enjoy doing creative projects, especially linked to more in-depth, more, I suppose, personal projects. I like linking art and writing back to really important topics. I enjoy sports as well. And my main kind of thing is getting involved with projects like this that can help me let my voice be heard and represent young people in my community, and a little bit of friendly debating along the way.
Thank you, Lily. So next question is, what in particular made you want to get involved with the Youth Parliament? Who should we go for the next? Phoenix, let's go with you.
So basically, what made me want to get involved in the Youth Parliament was that as I said in my introduction, that I have been involved in youth work for 5 years. I just wanted to take that a step higher and help more people, like nationally, and I want to create youth work when I'm older. So I thought it would be a good way to get like to that level. And I just want to help a lot of young people and make more connections and make new friends.
Brilliant. Let's go to Lily next.
Well, it was actually the Youth Council that I'm currently on that first introduced the whole idea of being part of the Youth Parliament. But I've really wanted to be part of a project like this for quite a long time. Like Phoenix said, it's a really good opportunity that involves a chance to get to meet so many other young people that feel the way that we do. And I really want my voice and opinion to be pushed forward, because I really don't feel like it's heard enough by the others yet.
And Zach, what in particular made you want to get involved with the Youth Parliament?
I've always had a keen interest in trying to solve issues around me, and I'm really interested in when it started a few years back, and when you and Lois joined. I thought it was such an interesting thing to be able to have your voice heard and speak up for others who might not necessarily be able to, and to discuss with other people who have similar interests to you on ways to fix problems and to make new friends and to help communities.
Brilliant. Okay, Okay, the next question is, what is your top priority and why is it important to you? Let's go to Lily first.
My top priority is that everyone, especially in schools, are treated equally. I think that there needs to be a raise in awareness on the amount of derogatory language and actions said and done, especially within schools, because it's still a really big issue. I don't know about everyone else, but I hear a lot of distasteful, offensive things, and half the time the person using the words don't even know the meaning behind them. There's a lot of bullying, and that causes such a big issue with our already declining mental health. Unfortunately, I wish to focus on what I can do to help make other young people's experiences in school and outside of it better, or help them to feel more comfortable with themselves. And why is it important to me? Well, even though these words and actions may not always affect me, they affect the people around me, my friends, my family, even people who I don't know yet. And I'm not the type of person to stand back and let these things happen.
Thank you. Phoenix, what's your top priority and why is it important to you?
My top priority is neurodiversity, a better understanding in schools. It's a key issue for both me and would benefit everyone else in school, as I feel it would decrease the amount of discrimination in schools and bring everybody together. Approximately 10% of the UK population are on the neurodiverse scale, and not many people understand this concept. In schools, we only learn about mindfulness and not learning about things such as ADHD, autism, dyslexia and dyspraxia, etc. If these topics were taught in schools, the more people would understand and not discriminate against these young people. It's important to me because most of my friends are on the neurodiverse scale and some of my family members are as well. And the discrimination they've had against them is appalling, and I just want it to be changed. So I feel like if it was taught in schools and things such as PSC lessons, it would make people understand and not bully or discriminate against others.
Brilliant. Have you asked Zach? Have you answered? Okay, Zach, I'm losing track. There's so many people talking to me. Go for it.
My main priority, if I for when I get voted, would be to help people who suffer from mental health and also to reduce the stigma around it, because you hear all too often about people who face bullying and people who suffer from depression and other mental illnesses, and not enough is being done to help them. And as someone who has been impacted by mental health related things, and as someone who I have a keen interest in psychology and the way we all think, it means a lot to me and I want to help, and there's not enough being done.
Definitely. Okay, next question. What would be your first thing you would do if you were First Minister of Wales? It's a big question. You can go anywhere with this. Let's go to Zach. Do you want to answer it first this time?
The first thing I'd do if I was First Minister would probably to offer support in schools for small communities who within the schools that suffer from mental health or part of the LGBTQ community, because they don't get enough support. And I feel like the government and local governments as well should be doing more to help them.
Phoenix?
As First Minister, if I were First Minister, I would put actions in place to decrease the amount of discrimination. As I said, it was my key issue. I would like to continue that if I were to be First Minister, as I would reduce it by educating and fostering better understanding and relationships throughout society, especially in the educational systems, as if we teach people from a young age that what they're doing is wrong and that people are different and that's what makes everyone themselves. it would create a better society in the long run. So I would like discrimination to be decreased against like minority groups such as Black Lives Matter and the LGBTQIA plus community and neurodiverse members. So yeah, that's basically what I would do.
Lily, what would be your first thing you would do if you were First Minister?
I think the one really important thing that would need to be done first is really gauge how much of an issue it is to kind of really put our views into perspective. So I would focus on mental health, but to figure out how everybody feels about it first, there should be some type of mass survey or a mass lesson given out to schools to be part of the curriculum so we can really understand young people's points of views better. Because yes, having something like the Youth Parliament is really good, but we need more people involved. So I think it would be good to see all the wide different variety of all the different opinions from all different types of people.
Brilliant. Okay, next question we can ask is, do you think young people's voices are listened to at the moment? With the Welsh Youth Parliament, you know, it really helped to break down the stigma with youth voice. And I think it's a starting place. But do you think young people's voices are heard? Phoenix?
I honestly think this is quite a hard question because it depends on the adult. As adults can sometimes indulge and make the young person feel like they are being listened to when they actually aren't. Because I have had experiences when I've been asked to help with a project and we only had one meeting and then they didn't get back in touch and then they just say they worked with young people. So I desperately want it to be changed where adults are doing this, but I do feel in cases with the Welsh Youth Parliament and certain youth boards and groups, we are being listened to and we're getting the steps closer to making our future our own.
Zach? Oh, I think Zach is frozen. Lily?
Again, kind of a tricky question. Yes, I do think we're here, but then again, no. Honestly, from my own point of view, I think they're well listened to, but not completely heard, if that makes sense. Adults and representatives, adults and representatives feel like they should listen to us just to tick a box or prove that they've taken our words into account so they can include in their reports an agenda to show to other adults. That's how it feels, that we're just another name on a box and they take it because, you know, it shows that they're being, you know, diverse and they're taking all different ages into account. And at the end of the day, we're going to be in charge of the world one day, which sounds really scary, but it's true. Trying to fix past generations' mistakes and create solutions to things we haven't even begun to consider. We're still young, but we need the right support and help from adults to guide us on the journey for when it's our time to take over. And I think adults should really be trying to make that extra push now to come into contact with us instead of it constantly being us trying to come into contact with them. They should be trying to make more effort with us.
Brilliant. And Zach, I think you're back. You're not frozen now. You're good. Do you think young people listen to?
I think they are on a very minor scale, but not. Men power think our judgment is clouded by emotions, and they don't think we can make rational decisions and decisions that are worth listening to. And I think, yes, it's their present, but it's also our future, and we need to have more involved, and we need to have more of a say what happens to our communities and planet before it's all destroyed by the time we get to being people in power and old enough to make to vote and to make an even bigger of a difference.
One issue that's been seen quite often on the news recently is about climate change and about the COP26 conference in Glasgow at the moment. And as young people, we have been at the forefront of campaigning on this issue, and I think it's really changed perspective. But do you think climate change is being addressed? And if not, what needs to happen? Lily?
I think, again, like the previous question, it is being addressed, but not in a way that seems like people genuinely care about it. It seems, again, like another topic that adults feel like they have to bring up because of, I can't think of the word, but pressure, that's the word, because they feel pressure from others to talk about it when really they don't really care. I intend to include the discussion of climate change and how we should go about decreasing the carbon footprint of the local area if I was to be part of the Youth Council. And in particular, I really wish to focus on getting rid of as much single-use plastics as possible in schools and trying to come up with better solutions for creating electricity in schools. So using solar panels, switching out lights for LED special lights. Things like that.
And Phoenix? Zach, if you want to go, we're all bad on internet. That was one of my campaign points, actually. Okay, Zach, you're back. Do you think climate change is being addressed?
It is being discussed, like Lily said, but not enough. But I think the government should be and local councils need to do more, and they need to lead with an influence instead of just telling us we need to do something. And instead of bringing up these laws that we have to like reduce single-use plastics and stuff, they need to do stuff as well. And also, I plan on discussing that during my time there if I get elected. I've already started doing stuff to do with reducing carbon footprint and the global warming as a member of the Walk the Global Walk, the Eco Council, and recently I've become part of the Climate Action Group for Carmarthenshire.
Thank you. And lastly, Phoenix.
Well, as Lily said, it is quite a hard question because it does feel like adults are being pressured into dealing with the topic and they don't really want to do it. But I feel that some steps are being made in the right direction, but they are being they're being made really slowly. But the priorities are still on in the right order. And I feel that if young people were put more in the lead, then it would be a better outcome. I have in the past, I've worked with the Pembrokeshire National Park on climate change, and we were looking at the youth manifesto. I helped put input into that. I basically believe that if it's our choice to make sure our future is okay for us and make sure that we have a healthy planet for us, so the adults should put us more in charge instead of them making all the decisions.
Here, youth power. Okay, and thank you so much for all your answers. You've been amazing. Okay, I'm going to pass now to Lois, that will chair the Carmarthen East and Dynebwr sesiwn. Diolch.
Diolch, Kai. Helo, fi yw Lois Campbell. Fi sy'n mynd i fod yn cadeirio y rhan yma. I'm going to be chairing this next part. Gyntaf gyd, mae'n neis gweld cymaint ohonoch chi yn trial. It's so lovely seeing so many of you standing for your, I keep forgetting the name of my region, what is it? Carmarthen East and Senedd, that's what it is. So, gyntaf I gyd, oedd yn profiad I gyda Senedd Ieuenctid Cymru yn wych, nath agor nifer o ddrysau fi, a nath roi cyfleoedd I fi bydde fi byth wedi gallu cael heblaw bod fi wedi ymgeisio. The Welsh Youth Parliament gave me so many opportunities, and opportunities I wouldn't have been able to have if I hadn't have decided to go for it in the first place. So I think it's brilliant that you're all standing and you're giving it a go. Felly, mae 5 ohonoch chi yn sefyll ar gyfer Dwyrain Caerfyrddin a Dynefor. There are 5 of you standing for Carmarthen East and Dynefor. So, first of all, we've got Catrin Rees, if you want to give us a wave. We've got Daniel Farr. We've got Lara Murphy and Lucy Davis. And we've also got Iestyn Jones, but he's unable to join tonight. Mae'n absennol heno, ond gallwch chi weld I ddatganiad a'i faterion allweddol ar wefan Senedd Ieuenctid Cymru. You're able to see his statement and his key issues on the Welsh Parliament website. So it's going to be the same structure as Kai section. I'll ask you a question, I'll come to each of you individually. Felly, os nawn ni ddechrau gyda beth nath Kai, os hoffech chi sôn ychydig mwy amdanoch chi'ch hunain, if you'd like to explain some more about yourself, where you're from, what school you go to, and a bit more about your key issues maybe. So nawn ni ddechrau gyda, we'll start with Catrin Rees.
Hi, my name is Catrin, as I said. I'm 17 and I'm in Year 12 of Ysgol Trefnu'r, and I'm from Digwyddiad, which is just outside Carmarthen. I'd say I'm quite an active person. I enjoy sports quite a lot. I'm also part of a guides unit. I'm a young leader in my guides unit. And I think that was just a great start for me to, I don't know, get into voicing the young people's opinions in my area, actually.
Lovely, diolch. Os awn ni at, we go for Daniel next.
Hi, I'm Daniel. I'm in the northern half of the constituency. I go to Ysgol Trefnu'r, just over the border in Gyngor. I like politics, video games, films, anything like that, really.
Brilliant, thank you. A Lara nesa?
As I said, my name is Lara Murphy. I'm a pupil at Ysgol Trefnu'r, which is in Ammanford, just a little bit further away from Swansea. I like to think I'm a pretty well-rounded person. I enjoy performing. I'm also captain of my hockey team, and I really like being involved with other people and collaborating with people to make our community a better place.
Lovely, diolch. A I orffen, to finish, if we'll have a little statement from Lucy. Oh, I think Lucy's frozen. Can you hear us, Lucy? Did you clywed ni? Now, she did mention earlier that she was having some problems with the Wi-Fi. Okay, we'll move on, and if Lucy comes back, I'll go back to her then. So a question nesa, the next question is, what sparked your interest in politics, o ble ddath eich diddordeb chi mewn gwleidyddiaeth? Os ewn ni trwy hyn, we'll start this time with Daniel. What sparked your interest in politics?
I think it was probably around 2015. There was a general election then. My dad stuck one of the debates on, and I found it very interesting to look at all the candidates for Prime Minister and sort of see their opposing views and the direction they wanted to take the country in. And then moving on from that, I got my first phone at the age of 11, and I sort of fell into this hole on the internet of political videos that I'd never really came out of. And eventually it turned into looking deeper into politics and policy and all things like that.
Brilliant. We'll skip Lucy because I don't think she's back, and we'll go for, oh, is Lucy there? Yeah, she is. Hiya, Lucy.
I think I am.
If you'd like to just start off by saying a bit about yourself again, because we missed you on the start, and then go into what sparked your interest in politics. Oh, has she gone again? Ti'n gallu clywed ni? Can you hear me? No, I think we've lost her again. Oh, okay, we'll go for Catra next then.
Growing up, politics has always been a topic of discussion in our house, quite a passionate topic of discussion sometimes. But I think the first major political event that I was completely aware of was the 2016 presidential election. And it was eye-opening for me because I didn't particularly agree with either candidate. And I think it was just realised that, I mean, I'm not always right. There's different opinions. There's no right and wrong in politics. And it taught me that to be a politician, you have to understand other people's perspective, even if you don't agree with them. And I think that's really interesting. And it's also the fundamental fact that politics should be a representation of the people's needs and wants. And we as the public should always be at the central point of every point of discussion in politics.
Lovely, diolch. I think we're going to try Lucy without the video to see if that helps the situation. Lucy, ti'n gallu clywed ni? Can you hear us? No, I still don't think we can hear her. Okay, Lara, beth nath ni diddordeb ti mewn gwleidyddiaeth? What sparked your interest in politics?
So personally for me, when I was much younger, I really enjoyed watching people like Jacinda Ardern and Barack Obama in recent years break the mold for what a good leader was meant to be. And I believe we see these debates on television and we sometimes think these people are so barbaric and this isn't how leadership should be. This isn't how politics should work. And I felt very passionate and obligated to do my part in breaking the mold of what a good leader can be, and that showing people you can be both empathetic and strong-willed and formulate a strong opinion without being forceful and unkind. So yeah, that's what made me feel really interested in politics.
Diolch. We'll try Lucy once more. I feel, Lucy, ti'n gallu clywed ni? Can you hear us? I can see her moving. Brilliant. Okay, go.
Yes, I think I can hear you now.
Yeah, we can just about hear you. If you want to crack on then, that'll be brilliant. Try and squeeze you in before we lose you again.
No. Yeah. Okay. Sorry about this. A little fact about me: I live on a farm in the country. Wi-Fi is not so great. Yeah. So I'm a little bit about myself. I live on a farm in Ferryside, just by the sea. My name is Lucy Davis. I'm 15 years old, and I'm a scholar gyfer Gymraeg Bromyrddin.
Lovely, diolch. Ti'n moyn sôn bach amdano diddordeb ti mewn gwleidyddiaeth? What sparked your interest in politics?
Well, really, it's just the ability to make a change. That's what politics is. It's about adapting to society's progression and helping people and giving them what they need. So that's kind of what sparked my interest, is the ability to make a change and the ability to do things with other people and to help people.
Brilliant. Diolch. Okay, a question the next question is, how do you plan on representing the voices of young people in your area? And ni ddechrau gyda Lara, we'll start with Lara.
So I feel like the temptation on this question is to answer by just using social media, but social media is one of the many things that I plan on utilising to represent young people in my area. Any ideas that people have regarding improvements in my constituency would be fed through to me via forms and surveys where people who might know more than me on these issues could qualify and research and develop these ideas so that eventually we would end up with the best solution possible. And I feel like I would be the responsible representative if I were to do it that way, where we would always be working towards developing the best solution.
Lovely, diolch. Lucy?
Sorry, do you mind repeating the question? My Wi-Fi.
Yeah, of course, no problem. How do you plan on representing the voices of young people in your area?
Oh yeah, okay. So right now I'm currently, I was nominated to be in a climate action group in Cynhelir County Council. So that's one way. I'm representing our school, and we'll be meeting with the school Wednesday, hopefully, to talk to them about it and what they think. I also have made an Instagram account and where people can talk to me and communicate with me. I also plan on meeting maybe with schools and just talking to people. I think that's the best way, is just talk and communicate and give people the opportunity to communicate with me.
Lovely, diolch. Daniel, how do you plan on representing the voices of young people in your area?
I think the key really is accessibility. It's about being able to listen to the people you represent and to communicate with them in order to figure out the best way to solve the issues they have. And I think in this day and age, with the internet, the best way to do that is via social media. I have a Twitter account that I can be reached on pretty much any time people need me. And if I was elected, I'd be more than willing to listen to any concerns that any of my constituents would have and listen to them and attempt to advocate for them in the Youth Parliament.
Diolch. A Catrin, beth amdano ti?
If I were elected, I plan on conducting regular meetings with school councils and just community clubs, so that I'm constantly aware of what they feel is the pressing issues that need to be drawn attention to. Because I feel a face-to-face meeting is, well, they just can put more trust in me, and I feel like I'd be more of a figure that everybody would know. And I also plan on, in these venues, placing my official contact details so that I'll be accessible. I also plan on growing my social media audience. I've got an Instagram account too, as many of you have as well. I think that's just a great way to, because I've set up an anonymous suggestion box there, and I think it's a great way for people to just say whatever they're feeling. And it's a great way to just not be judged as well.
Lovely, diolch. Then I symud ymlaen i'r cwestiwn nesaf, we'll move on to the next question. If you were to be elected, what issues would you like to be addressed locally and nationally? Then I ddechrau tro ma gyda Lucy. Lucy, we'll start with you this time. Have you lost her again? Okay, we'll move on to Lara then.
So the main issues that I'd really want to be focusing on at a local and national level, my main priority would definitely be mental health, because I think the statistics that we hear in the news all the time just speak for themselves and show us that this is an issue that we can't ignore, especially when there are so many resources that are out there ready to help people. And I think many young people feel the stigma of mental health and don't want to reach out for help because of it. And I think this is an issue that together we could fix. I'd also really like to focus on building bridges in our community, so making links with businesses, clubs, any person who would want to help in our community, because I think together we're much stronger. And we see so many examples of this, like the Welsh football team, for example. Their slogan is "Together Stronger," and I feel if we link our communities and work together, the end results will be way better than if we're all working individually. Art is also something that I'm very passionate about, having had many years of experience in it. And I think we need more creative outlets in our communities, because there are a whole host of benefits that come with participating in the arts, and I want more young people to know about them and have the opportunity to participate. And lastly, I'd really, really like to prioritise climate change and finding solutions and marginal gains that we can work on in our communities.
Yeah, diolch. Lucy, we'll go back to you then. What issues would you like to be addressed locally and nationally?
Well, what I would like to improve is funding for more youth groups. So this would encourage kids to get together and talk. Again, talking about communication is really important, and it'll raise the voices of young people by getting out the houses and gathering in their communities to communicate. It will also help with mental health, you know, talking to people, working with people, meeting people who have been through the same situation as you, and just the ability to talk and communicate. Also, another point, Wi-Fi. As you can tell, Wi-Fi in rural areas needs to improve.
Yeah, definitely agree with you there. Okay, now symud mlaen, we'll move on to Catrin.
I think on a national level, in the past 2 years, how exams have been conducted, or well, not conducted, has been an issue that's affected every young person. So I think that we should reevaluate how students are being assessed and find a more transparent, more deserving, so they can have a more deserving grade at the end of the school year. Because I think the amounts of pressure given on 15 to 18-year-olds in the exam period is unbelievable. And from an early age, from more or less year 7, we're taught that our whole A-level, GCSE or BTEC grade hinges on this 2-hour time frame where we're sort of, we have to memorize all of this stuff just to kind of like a verbal throw it back onto this exam paper. And in my opinion, that shouldn't be education at all. It should be about developing a passion and an understanding of the subject, not just how well you can memorize. And if you fail these exams, it's just kind of, well, it's as if your whole life has failed. You can't get into a university, you can't get a job. It just sets you up for failure, and it's such an unhealthy mindset to instill in children. But unfortunately, I'm not an education expert, so trying to find a solution for this problem is incredibly hard, and I wouldn't be able to achieve this in the 2-year period. I feel like small steps forward is still progress, and for example, we could lengthen the time of exams, or just give more focus to the coursework and group projects throughout the year to combat this.
Yeah, fi rili'n cytuno gyda ti fyna. O'n i'n casau eistedd exams. I hated sitting exams. It's just like a memory test, isn't it? Okay, and we'll come to you then, Daniel. What issues would you like to be addressed locally and nationally?
In my application, I outlined my 3 key ideas, which were the improvement of infrastructure, investment in education, and building a greener Wales. I think locally, as we've seen tonight, there is a need for better infrastructure, particularly broadband. The pandemic has sort of exposed that there are a great many people in the constituency who don't have access to strong, stable, effective and affordable fibre optic broadband. And as such, it causes issues with things like Zoom meetings and things like that. So at a local level, that's what I worked to campaign on. At a broader national level, I think investment in education and the education system is vital, because obviously rising population means rising class sizes. One teacher having to look after 30, 35 pupils, it's just not viable, is it? So mainly infrastructure and improvement of the education system, as well as obviously investment in green energy, charging points for electric cars in order to combat carbon emissions, and to sort of really build a more prosperous Wales.
Bill, diolch, thank you. And we'll have one last question then. I was going to say we're finishing an easy one, but it might not be that easy. So why should young people vote for you? Pam dyle bod pobl ifanc Cymru a ardal Dwyn Caerfyrddin a Dynefwr yn pleidleisio drosoch chi? We'll start with Daniel then. Why should young people vote for you?
I think I'm someone with like a borderline obsessive interest in politics. It's something that I could get on with, and I'd be more than willing to advocate for anyone, no matter what their issues were. Young people in the constituency, whenever they had a problem, they'd be able to come to me. I'm always willing to talk to people. I think that's the kind of quality that you'd want in a Welsh Youth Parliament member. As a result of that, I think that I'd be a pretty decent candidate.
Diolch. Lucy, pam ddyle bod pobl ifanc yn pleidleisio dros y tŷ? We'll come back to Lucy then. Lara?
I feel like if I am elected as a representative, I am confident that everyone in my constituency will feel as if I'm an approachable representative who is understanding and sympathetic. I have prior experience representing young people as I was a global goalkeeper last year, and I collaborated with over 1,000 students aged 11 to 18 to create over 30 scrub bags for nurses by recycling bags. I also like to think I'm a good listener and I'm perceptive of the world around me. But I'm also strategic and organised, and I will give clear outlines, set efficient targets, and infiltrate a pragmatic way of thinking to do anything I can to help young people in my constituency. And I also understand that being a determined person can sometimes border on stubbornness, but I do like to think I'm open-minded and pragmatic, and I'm incredibly passionate about collaborating to work towards not only the best solution to our problems, but also the smartest.
Diolch. I'm known as being quite stubborn. I think my whole family could agree. But do you know what? From now on, I'm gonna use it as being passionate instead of being stubborn. Okay, Lucy, we'll try you again then. No, still no answer from Lucy. Okay, Catrin, ewn ni eto ti de.
Yeah, as Lara said, I think that passion is a great attribute for a politician to have. And I believe that combined with my diligence and drive to see things through, I'll make a great candidate for this, to be a member of the Welsh Youth Senedd. I feel that I have a drive to see things through and see a change for the future. And to be in a room full of like-minded people with the same passion, drive and energy, it'd be electric, and we get so much done. And I just really like to be a part of that. I'd love to be able to contribute to it.
Lovely, diolch Catrin. Lucy, wyt ti na I ateb y cwestiwn ola? Na, sa'n meddwl. Mae'n wnaethon ni glywed tipyn bach o'r Lucy gyda beth bynnag. We heard some of Lucy's thoughts earlier anyways, but her statement is on the website anyway if you need to know a few more things about her. Felly, diolch yn fawr iawn. Fi'n mynd I bosio chi nôl at Kai now. I'm going to pass you back to Kai. Thanks for having me tonight. Fi wedi mwynhau. You've all got bright futures ahead of you. A pob luck, good luck to all of you. Diolch.
Diolch fawr iawn, Lois, am gadeirio'r sesiwn hynny. Felly, mae Lyned Morgan yn ymddiheurio. She's apologising, but she had to leave. But she's left a comment in the chat. Very interesting evening. Thanks for letting us listen in. Really inspiring to hear your plans, ambitions and ideas. I'm really sorry I'm going to have to leave for another meeting. A very busy person, Lyned Morgan. So, pob lwc I chi gyd. Good luck to everyone. But we do have Kevin Campbell, I think, on the call. So, if Kevin wants to. What we're going to do is we're going to ask the candidates if they've got any questions to Kevin Campbell, member of the Senedd for Mid and West Wales. So, if anyone wants to put a hand up, or virtually raise a hand, or put their hand up in person. Does anyone have any questions to Kevin? Oh, Zach, come on in. Give us.
What is some advice you'd give for aspiring politicians?
Thank you, Zach. That's a really great question. I think my simple answer would be believe in yourself and believe in the things that are important to you. It's quite easy in politics to be drawn into being a member of a herd and following others' opinions because it's popular. Stick to your guns. If you believe in something passionately, then carry on with that. But I think in terms of a tip I would give each and every one of you is the art of politics is reaching out to other people. Now, other people won't share your political views, perhaps, won't share your enthusiasm for certain topics that are important to you, but it is important that you reach out to them, and the way you reach out to them is also crucial. Not in a very aggressive way, not in an intimidating way, but in a persuasive way. And that's the way you can win people over to whatever cause is important to you. I hope that answers your question, Zach.
Thank you.
Okay. Does anyone else have a question? And we'll open this also to Lucas and Arwen, who are part of the Carmarthenshire Youth Council. Does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, what's one thing you'd like to achieve over the course of your career, like, or would like to further more, if you were given the chance to?
Sorry, Kai, I didn't quite get all of that question due to the connectivity issues. Could you repeat the question again, Kai?
Yeah, what's your ambitions as a new member of the Senedd?
Right, thank you, Arwen. Okay, yeah, I am a new member. I've just been in the Senedd for 6 months covering Mid and West Wales, which is a huge area. It covers all your constituencies, but also extends up to Ceredigion, the whole of Powys, and Meirionydd Dwyfor, which is North West Wales. So I've got a bit of travelling to do. But I'm keen to meet as many people and societies and communities as possible. I don't have any great ambitions in terms of politics. My only ambition is to do my best for the people I represent. I'm the spokesperson for Plaid Cymru on rural affairs and agriculture. Now, my ambition is to do my best for rural communities and for the farming sector in particular, but I also have a great passion for education, which is my background. I'm also absolutely devoted to making this world a safer place and a greener place in terms of meeting the climate change agenda. So I don't have personal ambitions. I just have the great desire to do my best for the people of Mid and West Wales. And I think, honestly, that's the way politicians should be, because I've seen, even my short time in the Senedd, new members of all parties trying to make a mark and trying to be ambitious and pushing themselves forward based on very often self-ambition. It's never been my interest, and I think all politicians should take a step back and think less about themselves and more about the people that they represent.
Yeah. Anyone else have a question?
I have one.
Good. Go for it.
When did you... Oh, no, I've lost it. No, come back. Oh, I've lost it. Oh, there we go. Found it. Racking my brain. When did you first feel that desire to get involved in the community, or what was your reasoning behind getting involved?
Again, a great question, Lily. Right. I've always been interested in politics, even when I was in school, your age, and in college. I got involved in all kinds of campaigns, which sometimes got me into a bit of trouble, but I got involved in campaigns to do with the Welsh language, to do with CND, to do with the anti-apartheid movement. I got involved in the miners' strike, supporting the miners when Margaret Thatcher was threatening, as she did, and eventually did close the mines, which devastated the kinds of communities where I grew up in the Amman Valley. So I was always politically active, but I didn't get involved in party politics until about 10 years ago, when I decided to stand as a county councillor in Carmarthenshire. And I got elected in my ward, and then I became a cabinet member of the county council with responsibility for rural affairs, equalities, and the climate change agenda. And because I enjoyed that experience so much, and I'm going to embarrass Lois by saying this. Now, you might have noticed that we share the same surname. Now, Lois, my daughter, she got into the Senedd before me as a jealous of Lois, and I didn't want her to have one up on me. I thought, right, I'm going to have a go as well. And luckily, I was elected back in May. But seriously, politics can be brutal. It can be off-putting for some people, because it's not easy, because you have people who have very, very strong opinions arguing amongst each other. But I think one of you earlier on said we need a more compassionate way to do politics, and I'm one of those people who's trying, but sometimes I get very passionate about things I believe are important as well, and there's nothing wrong with that. But do it with respect and integrity, and always respect other people's views, whether you agree with them or not. So far, it's been 6 months. I've thoroughly enjoyed myself. It's a lot of hard work, long hours. But if you feel that you can make a difference to the people you represent, then it's a worthwhile job. So if you feel that way inclined, and obviously you do, because you wouldn't be here otherwise. Pob lwc I chi. Good luck to you all.
Yeah. Any other questions? Zach?
What do you plan to do during your time in the Senedd?
Again, I have some targets that I've set myself. In terms of the portfolio that I have, I want to show that the future of farming is a secure one. So we are in discussions with the government at the moment, that is Plaid Cymru, and I'm trying to ensure that we have a stable payment system for farmers as we move forward. So that is one aim. I want to provide opportunities as well for as many children in Wales to learn Welsh and to become bilingual, because I genuinely believe in creating a bilingual Wales, and I genuinely believe that having two languages is beneficial to everyone in Wales, and it opens all kinds of opportunities for jobs, and also in terms of learning other languages. And finally, it's my commitment to social justice. The equalities agenda is extremely important to me, and tackling poverty is one of my major priorities, because 1/3 of children in Wales live in poverty. That, I think, is a scandal, and I think we should be doing everything we can to alleviate poverty and provide opportunities for children, whatever their background, whatever their household income. Everybody should have the same opportunity to progress in their careers and make a decent living and a contribution to community life. And that is one of my major objectives, is to tackle poverty in Wales in the next 5 years.
Diolch. I think Lara put her hand up at the same time as Zach. Have you got a question?
Hello. In what ways do you think that we as young people could get more young people involved in politics and get them engaged in finding ways to better our community without them feeling intimidated and maybe a bit silly for the problems that they might bring up?
Well, diolch am y cwestiwn, Lara. Thanks for the question. Well, in fact, I should be turning that question around to you and ask you as young people how we could engage young people more in politics. Let me just say one thing. Don't ever forget that your voice as young people is important. You may think that, you know, as politicians, we tend to ignore everybody else's opinions. Every week in the Senedd chamber, I hear politicians refer to meetings they've had with young people. They've been in conferences, or they've been in meetings with young people. And that has influenced them a lot. Now, don't underestimate the power of your voice as young people. And those who are involved in the last Youth Parliament, Kai, Lois, and others, will testify to how your voice, or their voice in the Youth Parliament, and the priorities they made, has had a huge influence on this 6th Senedd in terms of mental health issues, recycling, and equal opportunities. So all of those things are important. But just to answer your question directly, Lara, I would like to see more politicians of all, you know, ages speak to young people about our experiences. I'd like the Senedd to be more inclusive. In the next Parliament, I'd like to see more women elected, more young people elected, more people from Black and Asian minority groups elected, so that it's more diverse and better reflective of the kinds of communities we live in. But it's our responsibility to engage with young people as much as possible, and I'm, you know, happy to do that in the next 4.5 years that I've got left. But I really would, it's my question to you really, if I can, Kai, you know, please tell me how we as politicians can, you know, bring young people like you into discussions about the way we think about the future of Wales and the future of the world.
Does anyone want to answer that question? Anyone want to add some views on how we can get young people involved?
I think that the main thing that I really took from that is that you're doing a lot, and you're doing a lot behind the scenes. And you said that you're mentioning young people's views a lot in conferences, but I didn't know any of that. I had no idea that our views were really even being seen. So I think something that you should really consider doing is letting us know that we're being talked about, because it doesn't feel that way. Making statements, putting things out on your website to say, we've had a chat with these group of people, these young people, and we've decided to come to this final decision, making us feel seen publicly.
Lily, that's a really great idea. Thank you. And as it happens, I just had my website put up a week ago, so I can do that now. So if anybody wants to see my website, just have a look, Google it, Kevin Campbell. Follow me on Facebook and Twitter as well, because I do tend to put up a lot of pictures and you know, of people that I've met. And if I can just extend this invitation to you, if you have a group of young people that you want me to meet, whether, you know, it's Carmarthenshire Youth Council, or whether it's a young farmers group, or whether it's the Eirdd, or any group that you want me to visit, you know, given COVID restrictions, I'd be more than happy, if I have the time, to come along and support you.
Thank you. And I think that's answered one of the questions that I was sent to how you are going to keep in contact with young people, and that through the website, you'd say.
Website, Facebook, Twitter, and then invitations for me to attend different activities, events that young people are holding all over West Wales. I would be more than willing to come along and support you.
He's also just had an Instagram as well, if that's more convenient for young people. He does use Instagram as well.
I do use Instagram, absolutely. Thank you, Lois. Diolch yn fawr I ti am atgoffa fi. Yeah, I've come to kind of, you know, the world of young people by using Instagram. Yeah.
Well, diolch yn fawr iawn.
But I'm there.
Yeah, diolch yn fawr iawn, Kevin. Thank you, Kevin. And Tilly will come in now. We're going to do a little scene swap to finish the session.
Hey, yeah, so so I'd just like to say thank you all for today. You've all done an amazing job and you're a true inspiration to all young people in Cymru. Thank you to our guest, who I forgot at the start, so I do apologise, Kevin Campbell, who's a member of the Senedd. Thank you to everyone that's joined us tonight, and a massive thanks to Kai for initiating tonight and organising this event. So lucky to have you as part of the Youth Council. And just to let you know that the successful candidates will be offered 3 co-opted spaces on our Youth Council. And to all the young people in the county, if you are aged 11 to 18 and haven't registered yet, please make sure that you are registered to vote by this Friday at 5 p.m. Votes close on the 22nd of November at midnight, and your vote is really important, so make it count. Have a good evening. Good night.